everybody. I know it's supposed to be Friday night. It ended up it was Saturday night, and it's all confusing. But for some of you, it's still Friday. So, hey, there you go. It's the best I could do. I wasn't really planning on going on. Well, I was planning on going live today, and something happened, so I couldn't, and I didn't get home till late. And then, in the spirit of keeping myself on a schedule and holding myself accountable, I decided better late than never. Does that work for you guys? Oh my gosh. I have to tell you guys something because this is so strange. I'll start by telling you that I don't usually have nightmares and I rarely recall my dreams. And last night I went to bed early for me. Well, at first I did, and then I got up and then I went back to bed. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. I had intentions of going to bed one time. Let's just say that. So I started having what I can only explain as night terrors. They were horrible, graphic, psychologically torturing dreams. And when I would wake up, I'd wake up for a few minutes and I'd tell myself it wasn't real. I'd be upset and I'd close my eyes and it wouldn't even continue. It would just start some new, crazy, act up dream. It was terrifying. And I don't know why. And I know that sounds crazy because you're saying, well, probably because of what you talk about all the time, right? And that's true. But these are the scenes that were in my mind or in my dreams were so graphic. I don't even know where my mind got them from. I really don't, because I'll tell you all, I've never seen like the movie Halloween. I've never seen Friday the 13th. I've never seen like Centipede, Hostel, like anything creepy. Like, I think I saw Scream, there's a couple of movies that you'd consider horror movies or psychological thrillers. I saw Silence of the Lambs, things like that. But in general, I don't like watching movies like that unless they're documentaries or I don't know if it would be reenactments, but do you know what I mean? So it was a little concerning. And I had a long day today. I ended up, when my husband got up for work, I was like crying and I was like, every time I closed my eyes, I was like, make it stop. And, it was bad. It was bad. I had to take like some NyQuil PM and then set all these alarms so I would get back up so I could get a couple hours of sleep. So I am hoping that was a one-time thing because I never want to do that again. I know some people think it probably is from talking about all the stuff that we talk about, but I really don't think that's it. I don't know. I'm trying to find some like symbolism or something. And the only thing that I can think of is that, I know this is going to sound equally weird. Hey, Jenny Penny. Oh, Pin, you made it. Thank you so much. In the car. Ooh. Good for you. Hi, St. Elmo's Fire. And late night sushi. That's right. 24-hour sushi. Candy Williams, I'm glad to see you. Hello, Lizard Tia. And good. It works for people that you're up late. I just figured out that I would go for it. No, Kathy Lynch. I did not watch the 2020 on Gabby yet. It's on my DVR. I watched Halloween movies with my kiddos tonight. It won't be much longer that they'll actually sit down and have movie night. And they're going to their mom's to trick or treat tomorrow. Usually we do movie night on Saturdays. But because they won't be here tomorrow night, we moved it to Friday. So I will watch that later, probably in the morning. So, and then I can fast forward through the commercials, which is a terrible thing to say because I know 2020 needs their commercials, but whatever. But anyway, back to my weirdo dreams. The only thing I could think of is that like my empathic side, which I'm not even sure I believe in, my empathic side is like trying to prove to myself that I'm not desensitized to all this. And so it wanted me to feel things because everything was about being a victim and through their eyes. And it was horrific. So I'm really, really hoping that is not going to happen again. Yes, that's right. It's Sushi After Dark Ping. Yo, 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 Polly the Primate. Aloha, Weird Mom. I haven't seen Halloween. I haven't. I'll have to catch up one day. One day. Yvette, hello. And oh good. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that, you guys are glad that we're here late. So I'm gonna start this off by playing 2 little clips. I'm gonna apologize because and they're funny. But the second one has, if you're offended by language, the second one has some language in it. I tried to get it out, but I couldn't. It was so dirty, I couldn't clean it up. That's how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and play those for you now, and then we'll get into it. Okay, you guys, that did not have any sound. So let me try to figure it out. And if not, we're just gonna say, sorry about your luck, mister. I was gonna make you famous on my very famous channel. Because I'm sure you've been waiting for your big break to be on True Crime Sushi, but it's just not gonna happen if you can't get it to work. Let me try one more time.
It's weird though, when I watch these true crime things, the one thing I've learned is that every single case, the guy, it's always a dude, right? And they're always like, he was smart, charming, and funny. And it's like, yeah, that's the number one thing women look for. Ladies, let's stop going for those dudes then. How about that? Get you a dumbass like me who stutters, all right? But I want a guy to sweep me off my feet. He's just sweeping you off your feet to put you in the van. That's why you're off your feet. I'll keep you alive, all right?
Knife into the shower.
Oh.
Never gonna see that coming. He pulls back the curtain like, rant, rant, and you're like, rant, rant yourself, motherfucker, and stab him right in the eye. You thought the psycho was out there? Surprise, the psycho's in here with the Irish Spring on him.
I'm sorry, I have to play that one more time because I think it's so funny. I don't know why. It reminds me of something I would say to my husband.
Bring a knife into the shower.
Oh.
Never gonna see that coming. He pulls back the curtain like, rant, rant, and you're like, rant, rant yourself, motherfucker, and stab him right in the eye. You thought the psycho was out there? Surprise, the psycho's in here with the Irish Spring on him.
I don't know why I think that's so hilarious. I just do. Oh. Hey, Websleuths. Hey, Tricia. Is that you? Is that the real Tricia? You're the real Tricia. Please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. It could be Ping in disguise. He does that too. Oh, what? Is the Owl Mom in here too? The Weird Mom says, I literally have a machete in my shower right this second. Oh my gosh, if that's true, you gotta put it up sometime. Oh my gosh, I like the stabbing sound effects too, P.Ann. I love that. Oh good. Ping is gonna be home from the vax in 20. Yay, it is Tricia. Yay. Yes, that's true. Evil Amy is coming out. I always tell Tricia, I'm like, I'm trying to make a decision, and Evil Amy is just like, this is what you need to do. But I don't let her out. I don't. She's constantly frustrated. Constantly. But she's funny. She has some funny ideas. I'll tell you that. Hello, woman of steel. She says, hi, Websleuths. Doesn't say hi to me, but that's okay. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. So, what I want to talk about tonight is a combination of things, and I'm going to update you on some other things. But I myself have gotten in my car a couple of times and driven out to, if it's close to me, driven out to a crime scene. Like, for instance, there was a triple homicide in Frostproof, Florida. And I went up there and drove to the crime scene, drove the route of the alleged perpetrators. They stopped at a convenience store and they went here and they went to the lake. And then from one of the murder victims' dad's house to the lake to figure out how far everything was, to get a general view, like lay of the land, so I could totally understand, kind of what we were looking at, so that when I went back later to talk about it, I had like not a personal connection to the crime, but I could really speak about it. And I did, similar things in Gacy Anthony. I'm telling you guys, like when we get later on this program, I could probably charge some good money for a Gacy Anthony tour, because I know about every single spot there is and could get you there and in and out quick. But Brian Enton is currently up in the Grand Tetons, and he's retracing not only Gabby and Brian's, kind of last days, their roots, and speaking with the Moab police, and then on to, where Gabby was found. He's also concentrating on Kylan and Crystal's case and talking to people in Moab. And one of the things that he said, it was like he was in my head, because he said he had spent all this time in Northport, and I went up to Northport too. But he spent all this time in Northport, and he just knew where everything was and the layout and how to drive to places and things like that. And the story was really coming together for him, being up in Wyoming, being up in Salt Lake, and being in Moab. So it led into a spot that he did with News Nation Now, because that's who he works with. It was on Banfield, about people that travel for, true crime. They called it True Crime Tourists. And so I want to go ahead and share that with you. We're going to watch that together first, and then I am going to segue in to some other things. So give me a second here and let me pull up the screen, and we'll get this rocking and rolling. And again, this is going to be Ashley Banfield at News Nation Now. Let me go ahead and, just to be safe, take myself.
I don't think I have to tell you, right? The Gabby Petito case has touched so many people across the country, around the world. It's been a veritable circus on the front lawn of the laundry home, and that's been going on for nearly 6 weeks. We've seen people hammering in signs into the grass on their lawn. We've seen the protesters with the bullhorns just hollering at the house, and the humorous signs certainly making their point out there. Some of the folks out there had actually even traveled thousands of miles to be there. And our own Brian Enton spoke with 4 of those crime tourists.
We've been following the case since the very beginning, and it's been very intriguing to us. So We wanted to come and see all the action.
Yeah, to be able to see the space, like on TV, you can't tell how close this neighborhood is. And
Which spots have you gone to so far in relation to the case?
Well, did we go to the Carlton Reserve first? We went to the main entrance. Nobody was there. And then we realized, no, it was the environmental center where everyone was, staked out.
Yeah.
And we were surprised at how big the area was. It took us like 20 minutes to get around to the other side where all you guys were at. So we've been there. We've been here to the house, the North Point Police Department, and the town over there. My son first told us about it, and then we just kept watching it. I probably started watching more than you did.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the thing that really captivated my interest was the whole
I was just really stressed this morning.
video of when they were pulled over in the Tetons.
Yeah,
and the whole
Gabby probably caught your heart then, right? You saw what was going on.
I saw her. She reminds me of our daughter, blonde hair, same age and everything. And it was just like, wow, this is really sad.
I know how she was feeling. And I feel like I just had to be here. But I know she couldn't leave. I know she wanted to leave. And I know that she was afraid to say she wanted to leave. And it's classic narcissistic abuse, except he put in the physical with it. So this girl was completely helpless. She was stuck. She was completely stuck, and she knew it in her head that she was stuck. And it hurts my heart because I know how she was feeling. And I couldn't just not do anything.
So let's say you have
Okay, well, that wasn't the smoothest transition, but there are some people, and there are lots of people, including myself, that went to Northport for different reasons. And so I guess I'm asking you guys, are there any particular destinations that you would, like to go, like to check out, like to see? Hey, Jesse, Diane, Ryan. Hello, Nashville. Paisley Dreams. Charlie Hunt. Candy Williams. Good to see you guys. So have any of you ever considered taking like a road trip to do something like this? Or maybe you're traveling to a certain city for a reason and you try to work it in. Like, for instance, I have taken the Savannah walking tour in Savannah, Georgia. And then 2 years ago, I went to an art opening out in LA, and I had Chris and I, we stayed at the Biltmore Hotel, which is the hotel where the Black Dahlia was last seen. It's also where, I have to tell you guys this. So, well, first of all, because we're talking true crime, duh. It's the hotel where the Black Dahlia was last seen, and you can take a little, walking tour of that and see where her body was found. And you can go up to the floor, and they tell stories about how the hotel is haunted. They have drinks named after her in the bar area and things like that. The other thing is, though, as long as we're talking about the Biltmore, this was before we were married. The scene from Pretty in Pink, the prom scene, that hotel has been in a lot of films, a lot of major motion picture films. That just made me sound like I was 100. In many major motion picture films. What the hell? I'm just going to go take some Geritol and go to bed. It's in a lot of movies. But we were coming in from the street level and walking down to go to meet some friends for dinner. And so when you come down the stairs, there's a ballroom directly across it. And Chris was playing, the song from, you touch me once, you touch me twice, whatever song. And that was a Pretty in Pink ballroom. And it was super fun because I like that movie. And I don't like a lot of girly movies. But that one, sorry, I was not little. I was a teenager and I liked it. So let's see. Oh, okay. So you guys have some good answers here. If that would like to go to Brentwood to Nicole Simpson's house, we drove through that neighborhood when we were out there. Yeah, so I agree with you. Oh, you would go to the Cecil Hotel? Yeah. Did you watch that documentary on Netflix about it that came out a little while back? I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was done very well. Polly the Primate says, when I was 18, 19, I did a road trip from New Orleans around the parks out west and then up to Alaska and back to Montana and lived out of my Jeep for a while. That was in the late 90s. That sounds like so much fun. Did you keep a travel journal or anything? Or do you have like video or I hope you took lots of pictures, and that's just amazing. That sounds like fun. Yvette. And then drive to OJ's house and see how close they are together. See, that's the thing. That's the thing about going to these places is making this, is it spatial relationships? But like how easy it is to get from one place to the other, or to see what the gate actually looks like, or, could you really jump that fence? Do people park their cars on the street? Like that kind of stuff. Oh, Maggie May, I love your heart. You say, missing people pull at my heart. I wish I could personally look for them all. I do too. I stress about it sometimes. What are you saying? Are you singing to me? I wear my sunglasses at night so she can keep track of visions in her eyes. Don't switch the blade on the girl in shades. Oh, don't masquerade with avian shades. Oh no. Oh my gosh. I love it. I hope that one day they won't be so strict about licensing on music on YouTube, because it's crazy. You can't even hum something. And it would just add such another depth, like a level to doing a live, because we all relate to music and we can find things, but we can't hear it, we can't play it, we can't sing it. And no offense to the unlicensed music. Yeah, if you want like a backtrack or something, it's great, but it's not like we're like, oh, I remember ambient themes number 122. I used to really jam out to this. It's just kind of like, no. Oh, let's see. Paisley Dream says she's wanted to, meaning travel, but hasn't had the opportunity yet. Well, put it on your bucket list. Or find some. I'm sure there's something around you too. Honestly, I mean, it's sad to say. It's a terrible thing to say, but when you start really looking at what's happened around your environment, you'll be surprised. But maybe you shouldn't do that, because then maybe you'll be me lying in bed at night, not be able to close her eyes. So the weird mom wants to do the Bundy tour. Yeah, that would be good too. I would like to do that too. I actually have been to the Chi house, the Chi Omega house at Florida State University. And I know one of our listeners actually lived in that house, because we were there around the same time. But not during the Bundy murders, but there is a plaque outside, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, Candy Williams says, Polly the Primates, road trip sounds amazing. You guys are still making fun of my sunglasses. That's right, Candy Williams. Ambiance. Let's see. Maggie Marie, when my sis and I were in Chicago, she wanted to do the crime tour next time. I love the idea, but I don't want to die on a true crime tour of Chicago. I'm actually going to show you a place in Chicago tonight. So maybe you'll change your mind next time you're there. Let's see. On a Jeep trip, this is Pippins. On a Jeep trip, we visited Ma Barker's ranch, I'm sorry. I can't talk. The ranch where Charles Manson had been staying. The trip was difficult to navigate in a Jeep, and our trail leader told us Charles Manson brought his bus through the trail. Wow, that sounds like that's something I haven't done. That sounds amazing. And did you do the whole like Sharon Tate house and all that stuff too? Yeah, Mom Parker. I know. It was creepy. I bet it was. There's something especially creepy about Manson. It's the way they were in those like dune buggies going out behind things, and I don't know all of it. Let's see. The weird mom says he came through my hometown and I worked at the bar. Well, one of the bars he went to. Bundy? Really? Huh. That's crazy. So you and Tricia have a connection because Tricia has a connection with Ted Bundy too. You say. Polly the primate says at Candy Williams, at the time I didn't know it was so great, but yes, I know it was looking back. I still travel the world, bigger budget now as an adult. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where I want to start with this. Oh, I know. I'll tell you this. If because I pulled up the website. So let me share that with you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. I can flip you through here. And this is not a paid advertisement. It's just a recommendation. I've done one of my favorite cities in Florida is St. Augustine, and by some people's standard, it's the oldest city in the United States. There are some arguments that there are some other ones, but living here, we proudly say it is, and we don't want to hear it. But because we like to go up there at Christmas and do the Christmas lighting, and it's kind of like it's very Gilmore Girls, but there's the fort and the oldest school and some great restaurants. It's a nice town, and if you want to go camping, there's a place up there called Anastasia Island, and they have an amazing campground facility. It's on the beach. And in the morning, they open like a coffee bar, and the facilities are crazy nice. I mean, they're primitive campsites, but I guess the amenities there are really nice. Like almost make it like glamping, and to camp on the beach is pretty cool. And then just on the other side of that campground, they have an amphitheater, and so they have concerts. And so I have gone a couple of times to see concerts, and what we do is we don't get a hotel room anymore. We camp, and then we walk around to the amphitheater, and then we'll walk back. And there's just something about that, like listening to music under the stars with the beach behind you. It's crazy good. But the reason I bring it up is because I've gone on some really expensive ghost tours in St. Augustine that are horrible. I'll show you guys some pictures one time. Like literally they took us to this haunted playground, and there were like Raggedy Ann dolls tied to swings and plastic bones on the ground, and they gave us like these little things like when you go to a restaurant and you put your name on the list and they buzz when your table's ready, and they were telling us when they buzz like ghosts were near, and Chris and I were just like, oh my God, we should have been drunk for this because it's so stupid. Like it was so stupid. We were trapped on this bus, like getting up and on places. And I literally think it was like $70 a person. But let me just check and make sure this is actually up on my screen so you can see it. Okay. So if you're ever in LA, Dearly Departed Tours, amazing. They have different things to choose from. Like it says here, they're the authority on the dark side of Hollywood, and owner Scott Michaels knows where the bodies are buried. Dearly Departed Tours was opened in 2005, born out of Michael's previous tour experience, and finddeath.com, his popular website chronicling and often skewering celebrities in their final exits. Since then, the tours evolved, and others, including a Charles Manson-themed Helter Skelter excursion. So yeah, the next time I go out, I have to take that one. But this is like, I swear to you, this is the only place to go when you're out in LA. It is not terribly expensive. And also, I highly recommend, they have a great podcast. Hopefully it does not auto-aggregate and start playing. But yeah, they have They have a great podcast. Looks like it hasn't been updated since August now that I pull it up. But definitely that's your go-to place if you're going out to LA. And my screen is frozen for just a second, so I am not going to panic. I'm going to take a deep breath and hope that goes away. So let me do this and then make sure that we're here. Yay. I'm so proud of myself for not hiding under the desk when that just happened. Okay, wait, I got to catch up. Let's see. Twin Mom 11 says, I stayed there once many moons ago, Amy. Now, I don't know if you're talking about, let's see, what time is it? Are you talking about St. Augustine? Yeah, St. Augustine. It's beautiful. Yep. Kathy Lynch, oh, you have to. You have to. It's St. Augustine is one of the most beautiful cities, really. It's full of history. There's something for everybody. People are so nice. I cannot get to my comments. This is not good. So let me see if I can remove a couple things for a second. I had a lot of tabs open, so it's possible I overloaded myself. Let me take some video clips out of here. See what else I could possibly get rid of. I can't get rid of StreamYard. Can't get rid of that. All right, so here's what I will do. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go back to here and see if that fixes the problem. Let's see. Maybe I'll bump it down. I'm going to look on my phone really quick. Sorry, these are technical issues, and I'm not sure why they're happening. I also have had a Yvette, you thought it was funny when the dog ran in on me the other night. Oh my God, it was tackled. It was absolutely tackled. I don't know what that was all about. Okay. Hey, Rebread. Oh, so I missed this one. Carolyn says, we have a huge case here that's getting ready to go to trial. It's been 25 years in the making. It's a case that rocked our town. Wow. Can you imagine waiting 25 years? That's got to be so frustrating. So frustrating. Oh yeah, the Museum of Death. Yeah, I would like to see that too. Yep. Totally. Okay. So I got my chat back. Yay. Yay. You guys made the magic happen. All right. So let's see. I am going to show you a couple places. Some of them I'm interested in. I don't know. I actually haven't seen any of them in real life, but I put together some pictures of some places that you can go. And I'm going to put those up on the screen in a minute. And the tour company I was telling you about is out of LA. Yeah, Carolyn, I'd like to know what trial too. So maybe I'll wait a second and get that answer because maybe we can follow it and you can help us. You're a smartass, Maggie Marie. And I appreciate it. I like it. All right, Carolyn, if you get back to us on what the trial is, that would be great. I'd like to know. Let me go ahead and do this. Share my screen again. So I haven't presented like this before, so hopefully it will work. Let's take a wild chance here. All right. So I looked up some of the most common true crime tour destinations, and these are them. So it says what may seem like an unassuming. I'm sorry, there's comments coming in while I'm doing this, not from StreamYard, but from somewhere else, and it flickers my screen. So this looks like an unassuming farm home in Burrillville, Rhode Island, but it served as the inspiration for one of the most frightening horror films in recent years. It's the house from The Conjuring. The film tells the true story of the Perron family, who called paranormal investigators to look into odd happenings at the house, including disembodied voices, stopping clocks, and the death of their dog. And supposedly this is the home haunted by Bathsheba, a witch who killed her own baby there. So this is, I don't know. Here we go. I have to go completely full screen to make this work. So this is the Conjuring house. Of course, I think we all know this one. This is the Chris Watts home in Frederick, Colorado. This is where he lived with his wife Shanann and his two daughters, Bella and Cece. It's also the setting. The exterior was used in the movie American Murder, the family next door. We all know that Chris Watts admitted to police that he killed his pregnant wife Shanann, his two daughters. He also revealed he was having an affair. He was also sentenced for the death of his unborn son, Nico. He initially misled investigators and the public, but confessed after he failed a polygraph test. And with the popularity of the docuseries, the home has become a magnet for true crime fans. The home is in limbo with a $6 million lien from a wrongful death suit Shanann parents won against Chris Watts hanging over it. So there you go, if you're ever in Frederick, Colorado. But please don't go up to the door or anything like that. Don't encourage that. I don't think driving by is a bad thing, but I think when people get out and start crawling around the house, that's like disrespectful business, unless it's like open to the public. So this next one is John Wayne, Lord have mercy, John Wayne Gacy's House of Horror. And this is in Norwood Park Township, Illinois. John Wayne Gacy, of course, was one of the most terrifying and prolific serial killers in U.S. history. Gacy, who worked as a children's birthday clown, killed more than 30 men and boys, burying most on his property in the Chicago suburb of Norwood Park Township. Though the original home he used has been torn down, with a new one built in its place, buyers may be leery about living in such a ghastly location. Initially listed at $489,000 in 2019, the new home has steadily dropped in price and sold for $395,000. That's the most recent data I could find. That's April of 2021. So this is the cleared lot of our clown killer. We're going to talk about him in a minute too, because he is another tie into this little broadcast here. So this next home is the farmhouse from In Cold Blood in Holcomb, Kansas. Truman Capote is considered one of the originators of the true crime genre with his book In Cold Blood. The nonfiction novel covers the 1959 murder of the Clutter family in rural Kansas, as well as the investigation, the trial, and the subsequent execution of the killers. Dick Hitchcock and Perry Smith killed the Clutters after trying to rob them, mistakenly believing the home had a safe full of cash. With the popularity of the book, the house itself became popular as well, with tourists from all over the world coming to Holcomb, Kansas, with many trespassing onto the property. Yeah, don't do that. Don't trespass. It's bad. This is the Lizzie Borden house. So this is in Fall River, Massachusetts. Lizzie Borden was the subject of one of the most famous murder investigations in American history. In 1892, her father Andrew and stepmother Abby were found murdered in their Fall River, Massachusetts home. Daughter Lizzie was suspected of killing them with an axe and put on trial, but she was acquitted. Unlike most owners of murder homes, the current owners of the former Borden residence have leaned into its gory past, turning the space into a bed and breakfast. Some guests have reported seeing ghosts and other ghoulish goings-on, particularly in the suite where Andrew was murdered, yet that room still remains the most requested place to stay. So in their little advertising thing, it says, Lizzie Borden took an axe. Well, actually, it was a hatchet, and Lizzie was acquitted, but the murder mystery still stands. Head to Fall River, Massachusetts to spend a night in one of the rooms where the bloody deed occurred at the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast Museum. Piece together the evidence for yourself. from the artifacts on display and roam through the house kept as it was that fateful day. Alternatively, you can stay down the street in Lizzie Borden's Victorian mansion that she bought with her inheritance. That's a little snark. The next home, this is Phil Spector's Pyrenees Castle in Alhambra, California. Of course, we know Phil Spector was a music producer. He worked with the Righteous Brothers and the Beatles, but he spent the last years of his life in prison after he murdered model and actor Lena Clarkson in the foyer of his Southern California mansion in 2003. The French-style chateau known as the Pyrenees Castle was listed for $5.5 million in 2019, but like many other murder homes, its grisly history may have put off prospective buyers. It eventually sold in May 2021 for $3.3 million, and Spector died in prison in early 2021. So yeah, we will see that in a year in review soon, I'm sure. Let's see. This is I don't know how to say this, the Villisca Axe Murder House. This is one I hadn't heard of. The small town of Villisca, Iowa, someone correct me, is the site of one of the most gruesome unsolved murders in American history. On the night of June 10th, 1912, two parents, their 4 children, and 2 neighbor children were bludgeoned to death with the butt of an axe. A traveling minister with a history of mental illness was put on trial for the killings, Chad Daybell, but was acquitted. More than a century later, the home is largely unchanged and offers tours and overnight stays for those who are brave enough to spend the night. The home's website boasts audio, video, and photographic proof of paranormal activity from investigators. So there you go. If you're ever in Iowa, that actually kind of sounds interesting. I need to look into that one. And last but not least, this is Versace's Casa Casuarina. We all know that this is in Miami Beach. He was a renowned fashion designer. He was shot to death in front of his Miami Beach mansion known as Casa Casuarina in 1997. The FBI said serial killer Andrew Cunanan pulled the trigger. Cunanan was on the run from the FBI, hiding out in Florida after winding up on the 10 most wanted fugitives list, as he was the prime suspect in at least 4 other killings. The slaying of the legendary fashion designer has inspired a number of books, articles, and TV shows. Most recently, Ryan Murphy's The Assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story, and the villa is now a luxury hotel. So I have never been here. I have driven by this. I would love to stay there. It is not in my budget. But I will tell you, even though it's an older story, if you ever get a chance to watch the documentary on Netflix, it's actually really good coverage. So that is going to be that for this. I'm going to go back and check on you guys and see what you're talking about. Let's see, because I wanted to know if Carolyn ever answered the name of the trial. So let me, okay, I see here. Or I'm starting to. On January 27, 1998, 23-year-old Renee Sweeney hastily accepted the morning shift at adults only video in a busy strip mall in Sudbury South End. Okay, so I need to look that up. I'd like to follow that. Polly the primate, finish your sentence. I heard about how they were living outside their means, but that house is. Finish it. Oh, yeah, that's right, Rebride. He'll pay that back at 12 cents an hour in no time. Yeah. Well, I think the house is worth like about $700,000. But they have that lien on it for a wrongful death suit or multiple wrongful death suits. So, all right. Oh, okay. So they recently caught the person by their family member doing a DNA ancestry kit. There you go. That is like the wave of the future. Speaking of which, do you guys remember when I told you the other night about the married couple that were recently arrested. They are linked to disposing of an infant child years and years ago, 30 years ago. And let me pull up the article real quick because it's worthy of talking about, and I'm definitely going to be following this case. But now we know, now we have pictures of these monsters. So let me go ahead and, I'm sorry, I'm skipping around, but I did want to share this with you guys tonight. So give me a second here and let me get it up on the screen. So here we go. A decades-old cold case of abandoned infant remains has been solved using DNA evidence. Now a North Carolina couple is charged with felony. So this is Scott Gordon Poole and his wife, Robin Lynn Byram. They face a felony charge of concealing a child's birth. So they haven't charged them with murder or anything yet, but, as of the end of, I pulled the article, the update with pictures about 8 o'clock tonight, but she looks like, oh my God, I didn't think I'd ever get caught for this. So I'll read it real quick. 3 decades after, this is from CNN, 3 decades after infant remains were found in North Carolina beach town, police say they have arrested and charged a couple based on new DNA evidence. Scott Gordon Poole, 54, and his wife, Robin Lynn Byram, 51, were arrested last week and charged with concealing the birth of a child, a Class 1 felony, the Nags Head Police Department said in a news release. As of Tuesday evening, it was unclear whether Poole or Byram had obtained legal representation. The case dates back to April 4th, 1991, when police officers found the infant's remains in the trash at a location in Nags Head. At the time, authorities were not able to identify the baby's gender because decomposition had already begun, police said. Investigators connected the couple to the infant after they sent one of its rib bones to a Texas lab for forensic analysis in 2019, and human DNA was recovered. That evidence was then used to create a genealogical profile, leading investigators to Poole and Byram. The tragedy of this child's death and manner in which the body was disposed of is compounded by the fact that, until now, no one has been found responsible for this incredibly heartbreaking act, Nags Head Police Chief Phil Webster said. But through the hard work of Nags Head Police investigators and our law enforcement partners in the case, those who did this will be held accountable for a death that has remained unsolved until now. It's so lovely when pop-up ads come on and I'm reading. The couple is being held at the Dare County Detention Center, and Mateo police said their bond was set at $250,000 each. So there you go. Those are the people. 30 years ago, they've been walking around. They're married now. It's crazy. But these 23andMe tests and everything else are beginning to have a big impact on the true crime world. Let me see. Pippin says she couldn't be a crime tourist. I'm a sensitive empath type and just know. I am like that too, but I get it more around, I don't know how to explain this, around people in my everyday life, like living people. I don't, or when I'm reading or talking about true crime, when I'm in the moment, I'm reading and talking about it, and I'm thinking, I've talked about this often, I'm thinking about the victim and like, were they looking up at somebody? Were they looking down? Like, what was the last thing they were looking at? Was it cold? A real good example too of like, it's weird, but like empathic behavior for me anyway, is I hear people say a lot, well, it's a good thing that the coroner or whoever it is says, they died within 2 to 3 minutes. They died rather quickly. And I've used this example before, but I'll use it again. Right before I came up here, not right before, but around 9:30, my daughter was making microwave popcorn, and I wanted the microwave to heat up my coffee, and there was 2.5 minutes there. And I mean, it's amazing what you get done in 2.5 minutes. It was a long time. You can't really say that. I kind of do those things to myself, but I understand. I understand this. It's not for everybody. It's just an interesting concept. And now that the more that true crime becomes popular and more accepted, and there's more programs and podcasts, and now we have authorities sort of waking up to the power of social media, I think you're going to see more true crime tourism, like legitimately packaged things, including, where you eat and what you do and themed things. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up tonight. Oh, see, Maggie Marie says the same thing. Just the pictures turn your stomach, and you can't imagine being in their presence. I understand that. I do. Let's see. Versace's mansion is the only one of those I would ever go anywhere near. That's Rebread. Yeah, I've driven by it. It's beautiful. I'd love to stay in the hotel. I'm not a big fan of, I hope I'm not offending anybody. I'm just not a big fan of Miami, though. Every time I go there, something bad happens. Like I've had my car broken into. I've had my hotel room broken into in a nice hotel. I had one time, this was lovely. I had food poisoning down there. That was fun. It was many, many years ago. I was with a boyfriend at the time. And let me just tell you, you don't want to be in a hotel room with a boyfriend you see like maybe once a month because you both travel and have food poisoning. It's like, luckily he was a good guy. He stuck around, but it was yucky. So I just have that weird aversion to Miami. So the weird mom says, I'm all about driving by, but I'm not trying to stay at a murder house overnight. No thanks. Nope. I'll pick you up in the morning, though. Yeah, I usually just drive by. But that one house in Idaho, that sounded interesting. I don't know. I'd check it out. Hey, Gray Hughes, what's up with you? I know, I'm like, that was like so 8 minutes ago because I'm so behind the chat. But if you're still here, he said, good to see some of you are not covering Daybell or Gabby. Boom. Yeah, I need a break. I did Daybell last night. That's my t-shirt. I'm wearing it. No, I needed to do something light and different, and I'm trying to keep myself consistent. I don't have a consistent time spot, but it takes 30 days to establish a habit, and I'm still in there. So I got to keep pushing myself. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just talk about this tonight. Are you going to be discussing it with it? Oh, wait. Let me look at this. Gray Hughes says, did you guys see that we funded the 1961 John Doe from Bibb County, Alabama via Identifinders with Colleen Fitzpatrick? They just tentatively identified the kid. He was only 16. And then he goes on to say, we will be discussing it tomorrow with the genealogist. Amazing feeling. That is amazing. Wow. See, that's what time? Tell me what time. Lots of good comments for you on that one. It's good to cover other cases that need help while Daybell doesn't. It is. And sometimes it's good to, for me anyway, I just need to get off the murder court paper path for just a second and look at another side of things and just do something light and, whatever. Wow, $8,000 and you have 2 more in the works. Do you want to come up and talk about it real quick? Because I'd love to have you. But if you don't, and you're going to do it 5 or 6 Pacific Standard Time. So yeah, I'll be watching for sure. That's totally cool. I love it. I'm fascinated how people doing Ancestry.com and things like 23andMe all are coming together, and we're being able to solve some case. You could. Is it you could or you would? Do I need to double dog dare you? Yeah, okay. All right. You know what? I'll just put it in the chat. Hold on one second. Yay! Yes, okay. I have to hit the invite button because I'm a spaz when it comes to this stuff. Actually, most things in my life. Most things in my life. There you go. See, it's there. Okay. In the meantime, great. I put it in the chat. Let's see. I Hate Morning says lots of missing and murder cases solved recently. Yeah. Yeah. And you've got Authorin Labs and you've got all kinds of places. And I mean, people like Greg Hughes taking his donations and putting them to good use. And that is an amazing story. I love that you can give back like that. It's just not to sound Pollyanna, but it's just like the full circle, like dream, like vision that you have. Like you hope that by talking about these things that somebody hears something, somebody says something, but even to be able to put money towards helping get something solved, because there's financial challenges in it too. What are you saying, Maggie May? Also gray, no joke. I have a neighbor who looks like the second sketch, and it's shocking to see every time. Okay, he's here. I'm gonna put him on. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on? I just tried to put my crap back on. I was already done with my show earlier. But
Oh, well, at least you're brave enough to have your camera on. I'm a mess. I'm covered in dog hair, and
I probably shouldn't have been. I shouldn't have been brave. That's the thing.
So
You guys want to?
What you got going on tomorrow?
Well, let me. I'll show you the screen. I can actually just switch over to mine. You can make mine big. If you want. Yeah. See, this is from. I was talking. Like a year and a half ago. I was talking to Colleen Fitzpatrick, and I was telling her, hey, we should work something out where I can raise funds for. And we figured out a way to do it through a nonprofit, and then they give them the money, and it's just been really amazing. And we've been working on this one for a long time. So this is the case right here, 1961, Bibb County. This kid right here, he was hitchhiking, and then it's in Alabama, and then he was hitchhiking, and his car went off of a bridge. The driver went off the bridge, and then he drowned. This kid broke his neck and drowned, and then the driver lived, but there wasn't any identification on him. He had this scratched on his arm, which is kind of interesting. Can you see that? It's a RY plus love right there. Yeah. And then there's little pieces of information in this document. I actually have, this is an FBI internal document that somebody sent me a few months back, and then I sent it to the genealogist because we had to send it in. There's all these different processes, right? So they take the bone, they extract the DNA, then they send it in to they try to extract the DNA and isolate it, and then if it doesn't work quite right and there's too much like bacteria in it, they do something called enrichment, which kind of removes the bacteria. So we did that the first time, and then it turned out where it just didn't really work. So Colleen, they're really creative over there. We sent it in again, and without using enrichment, and then they got a really good sequence. Then they uploaded it to GEDmatch like 3 weeks ago. Finally, it's been taking months and months and months. And then there was a second cousin, but then it turns out there was like all these. Somebody married this person, got divorced, married this one, so it was really complicated. But Misty Gillis over there at identifying her, she's like a savant. I mean, literally, like, not even just making it up. She's literally a savant in the genealogy world, and she just works all this magic. And then she made a phone call to somebody living overseas, and then I had sent her this document. She was talking with the guy, and he said, well, all I know is this one, these cousins of mine, one of them ran away, but he couldn't have been him because he had, he wore a brace on his leg. Well, one of the items in here was that he might have limped because he had a defect in his foot. I mean, it was absolutely crazy.
Oh, wow.
So now, they think they found the correct, there's 3 kids, and they're all right in the right two of them are in the correct age range, and they're just waiting for the birth certificates and some other confirmation, but they're really confident that they've got it. I mean, it's pretty amazing after 60 years too, right? Like,
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
And it matters. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes people think because, it was so long ago and, well, his parents have passed now or whatever. It doesn't we'll just put it off the books. No, it matters. It matters.
Well, it's cool to get get his name back. Right?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because I've actually got like pictures of the gravestone where it says, just like hitchhiker died 1961. The people of this town paid for him to have a, and then they had to actually exhume him from there, get the information. And it sounds like maybe they're from like Florida or something like that. But
hey, now.
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
That is.
I just feel it makes me feel really good too, and I'm so proud of all the people on my channel who, they're always supporting me to allow me to keep doing what I'm doing, and I donate like about 50% of the, the profit, the actual income from the channel to various charities in the true crime world. And so far this year, I mean, the DNA fund we have built up to like 17,500, and it'll probably close to 20 after the end of this month. And that's about 3 full cases right there. Usually they're about 6, but this one costs about 8 because you had to send it in that second time.
Right. So forgive me for being ignorant, but how did you get, and everybody else probably knows and I just don't, and I'm sorry. How did you get involved with identifiers? How did you choose them, and how did you start supporting these things? What was that like?
Well, it was just I became friends with Colleen Fitzpatrick for a couple just random cases out there. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's pretty much the founder of genetic genealogy.
Yes.
And she's just absolutely one of the smartest people. She was a literal rocket scientist at one point.
Oh, wow.
But we became friends. I think we were talking about the Schnee Oberholzer case, and maybe even, I mean, just various cases. I don't know why I called her one time and we talked, and it seems like we can just talk for hours about cases. It's really because she has so many interesting things. She's been on my show a few times just as a guest. And then we can sort of, she used to be at the DNA Doe Project. Right. So she founded that with Margaret Press, but then she branched off on her own and started her own company called Identifinders, and they do kind of the same thing, but in her own way. She's very creative, very nimble with the data. There's some places like Paravon, they get all the big name, they get all the fame, but they're cookie cutter. Like they just put it in. Oh, it doesn't work. Screw it.
Right.
She can massage the data. Like it's amazing.
So my husband, not giving up everything, he's in charge of laboratories, and he actually used to work at USA AMRED for a long time. He did like the anthrax letters and stuff, and I think I understand he has a way of, I almost call it like troubleshooting laboratory science. You have a very, very small specimen. He knows how to utilize it to his best advantage, leave a little bit to the sides in case that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly.
Okay. Okay?
That's exactly what they do. There's been a couple of cases where, she should be a consultant on every single time that you're going to use DNA, because she'll go, oh, yeah, that one, that's not really safe, and that could utilize too much DNA. So make sure that you say, she actually did that in the Schnee Oberholzer case. She made sure that somebody, I mean, there's just other cases out there where she's made sure that they save some, because there's certain processes that can just wipe it out and you have nothing.
Right. And I think that's why you see that a lot in, especially pre-trial documents. conserving bits of DNA, because my understanding, my layman's understanding, is that some of these bigger companies will just take the whole chunk and it's like they're playing poker and they're all in with it. And then people that really want answers are saying, no, 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 no. We need to, find a way to dilute this, or to create a, not a clone of it, but I don't know, suspended in something. So it seems a little bit more. So,
well,
yeah.
a lot of people, especially nowadays, you can use a smaller amount, but like if you were doing it in 2012, you might just wipe out the whole sample trying to get it. It was like 2016, 17 seemed like there was a big leap in DNA. When they started doing, when Parabon started doing the phenotyping, and then they started, genetic genealogy started, but it was actually, Colleen Fitzpatrick did a case, I think it was the Canal murders, like literally, way before the Golden State Killer. But that never got any, it wasn't famous, so it wasn't a big deal to people. But yeah, so it was just kind of neat. Like one day I just said, I'd love to be able to fund some of these, because there's these towns out there that don't have any money, but they have Jane and John Doe's and crime. Like there's 2 crime cases. There's one case where a body was found in multiple bags in different locations, and we're doing that one. I'm not going to get to know stuff about it as it's going along, but
right.
We're doing that one, but I just thought it'd be kind of cool to do, and we figured out a way to be able to send it to a nonprofit, and then it's all funneled straight to them for what they're doing, to pay the genealogists and the various services that's required. So it's been really cool, and it's a great feeling,
I can't even imagine what that feeling is like. That's really, really cool. I mean, even when I started a couple years ago, like doing something else, one of my goals was to just talk about things, get names out. Of course, I talked about popular cases like everybody else does, but I always tried to mix it in with cases that weren't getting a lot of exposure. And, that was kind of my goal. That's what I wanted out of it. That was going to be my takeaway from it. Like my personal, this is my mission. And I can't even imagine how exciting and fulfilling it must feel to be like, I funded this, we're getting answers, this person's name.
Well, it makes everything worth it. But like what you just said a minute ago, you say everybody does. See, the thing is, I cover a case, like I covered Gabby and Brian.
Sure.
At the beginning, I was one of the first people to even be talking about it, and I covered it. I was the one that linked the Moab case. I was the first one to go, wow, because I actually covered the 2 women in Moab that were murdered 3 weeks before Gabby. I literally covered that one because I cover all kinds of different cases, and I think it's important. I know when people start off their channels, they got to do all the popular ones because they want to get all the views and clicks. But at the same time, I don't know. I always consider that not the right way to do it, because it's almost like, I call it submining, where like people just keep covering the same thing over and over and over, and there really isn't anything new to talk about.
That's a pet peeve of mine in true crime, when people go on night after night and rehash.
Yeah.
And I really struggle with that, because sometimes the cop-out thing in my mind is like, well, there's nothing else to talk about. There's always something to talk about. I just have to sit down and say I'm going to do it. I know that you covered Mio Macrano too, right? The girl out of Orlando that was murdered in the apartment complex, or abducted.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember watching yours too, because that's around the corner from me. So I won't just pick local, but of course, if it's local and I can get that kind of little angle, I'll do that. But
but the sad part is it's sort of like people are covering cases because that is sort of what the demand is. But you got to wonder. I mean, I ask myself, is that what I think there's 2 types of true crime people. There's people like me and John Lorden, and people who just cover whatever it is that you feel like covering, all the time. And then there's people that do it for the entertainment value for other people. And that's why they keep covering the same thing over and over, because that's what people are demanding. And I really don't give two craps what anybody really wants to watch. I just cover what I want to cover. And if you want to watch it and support it, that's great. But all these cases out there, these missing people, the cold cases that are all around, they all deserve the same attention as Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, who got a ludicrous amount, like way overboard for
Mhm.
what it really was. It's insanity. There's people doing 8-hour live streams and there's nothing new. Like, how is that possible? Yeah, that's just,
It's,
yeah,
I mean, people don't like it when I say it, but I don't really care, because I have to be authentic to who I am.
yeah.
And so I will tell you that I think cases like that get the attention because the people are good looking and it's packaged sexy, and that's it. I mean,
Yeah, and they've got all the social media.
oh well, yeah, that's
like the YouTube, and they were on, all the different things. Yeah.
so they can pull. They have all kinds of media to pull and things like that. Yeah.
Didn't you know right when remember when the video of the van was put out? I knew right then. I go, oh god. You watch all of the crazy crap that's going to come out now, and there it was.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! It's a sonogram on the log.
Oh.
Remember that? Do you remember that part?
I don't remember that
Oh
part.
yeah, they said that there's like a sonogram test on a.
Oh, is that why they were?
Yeah.
Is that why everybody was saying that Gabby was probably pregnant?
So of course you see a sonogram log, and then you got the one where his hands coming out of a garden.
Oh, I know. So I'm sorry. and here's how. This is how I look at things. Like, at least here. If that's your opinion, if that's what you think happened or whatever, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not going to, punish you or throw you out or anything like that. But if you directly ask me, like, hey, do you think he's living under the Cabbage Patch? I'm gonna be like, hell to the no.
No, so see, that's where I'm different. See, I actually have purge nights. Like, I could have 120,000 subs easy if I just sat there and covered it, Gabby Petito every 5 seconds and did all this stuff. And all the other cases that have been out there. But I leave the case when there's nothing new, and I come back when there's updates. And then I lose all those things. But I'll have purge nights where I'll say, if you believe Sandy Hook is fake, please unsubscribe from my channel immediately. If you think that Brian Laundrie's hand stuck out, because I just don't want any of those people that are that stupid. I mean, if you believe that somebody reached their hand out of a garden, I don't want you anywhere near my channel. And I'm not even, like, I guess if I had 6 subs, I might be like, ooh, boy, I can't say that. But I really just don't care at this point.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have more, well, actually you don't have more creative license because it's like,
yeah, just
you start handling things the way you want to handle things from day one. To me, like I said, unless you're talking about some crazy stuff, it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe or whatever. But that I'm gonna say, like, absolutely not. Like, that can't happen.
Yeah. My thing is, I don't think any serious creator should ever entertain ridiculous ideas, because as soon as you do it, they think it's more credible now. And that's exactly what happened with the hand coming out. I mean, Brian Enton literally said, which is, unbelievable to me. Brian Enton said, well, we haven't been able to verify yet if that was his hand coming out. And he was
my God, no.
It's like, why were you even looking at it? I mean, it's not his hand coming out of there.
No, it's not. And I'm, and I have a very good friend that I really like, and she's like, we had this discussion because they said, I live in Florida, like, it's filled in swampland. We don't have basements. You can't live under it. You can build into a side of a hill every once in a while. You have to have major drainage or whatever, but yes, are there some World War II bunkers around here? Yeah, there are, especially over in the Tampa, like Pinellas County area, because they're near McDill and all of that, and blah, blah, blah. But nobody's building somebody just said, can you build one of those in like 4 days? The answer is no.
Yeah, but just think how ludicrous it is anyways. I mean, even if you could build a bunker, you're what is he? He's laying underneath this weird thing, and he reaches his hand up, and his mom hands him a Snickers or something.
He's like Chandler friends in trouble in the box. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I think it's valuable not to entertain and actually ridicule. I know it sounds bad, but it's like you shouldn't be following true crime at all if you gave the hand sticking out of the dirt 1 minute of real thought.
Yeah, no,
That's-
I get it. You were talking about Sandy Hook. Do you
Oh, yeah.
happen to know who Wolfgang Halbig is?
I hope not, because it'll probably be somebody that thinks it's not.
He is. He's like in charge of it, and he like recently went to jail. He was actually my driver's ed teacher in high school. He was a dean at my high school.
Oh God.
My parents used to socialize with him, and he was the nicest guy, but he must have had a psychotic break. Because one day, like 5 years ago, I'm on YouTube, and I'm like, wait, because I was, sometimes I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, no, that's the guy that taught me how to turn on my turn signal. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing because what you had all these parents that they just invented that their kid died.
No.
Oh yeah, it's always hey, there's the same woman with the brown hair. She's at all these different events, and I go, yeah, a lot of women have brown hair.
I can't deal with that kind of stuff. I just that I would never tolerate. Somebody just said, what did they just said about this is funny. This aggravates me to no end. The people that say that this call doesn't belong to Brian. Brian has a dentist and all this stuff. It's like, no, it's Brian. The FBI said it's Brian. There's no conspiracy. Accept it. Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you think that from the time Brian was born, their parents had like 2 little boxes, and one said Cassie on it, one said Brian, and then on top, like, hand painted with like, little fancy letters and a paint pen, it says, just in case my kid murders someone, here's some baby teeth, and we got to have a bunker in our backyard, and we have to go buy a camper, and like it's ridiculous. It is these stories, and it's like, I'm all about, if you want to think about that stuff all day long, or you want to research and you come up with ideas, go somewhere else and do it for good. Leave this alone, because that part has been solved.
I did a couple posts in my community section that said, one of them said, alert, Brian Laundrie is still dead. I got a lot of, like, a whole bunch of people laughed on that one. But this is like what you were just talking about. Listen to this one I wrote. Dental records confirm the remains found are Brian Laundrie. Have the internet sleuths ruled out whether or not Brian's parents killed another person and gave them dental implants to look like Brian? Or maybe they killed someone else and then replaced Brian's teeth charts with the person they killed. And for those of you who don't get sarcasm, that was definitely sarcasm. Just know it will be out there, because guarantee it. And guess what? That's exactly what people started saying.
Yeah. Oh, and I was just about the whole time you were talking about it, I was like, okay. I just saw somewhere the other day, it was probably in one of my comment sections or something, and somebody said, have you considered that they killed a homeless man and did this and this? And I'm like, but when did they switch out the dental records? Like what are you thinking?
So that really did happen. See, I put this out a week ago, and I guessed that people would start saying that. So you're saying that really was one of
it has happened. Maybe they read it and thought you were really reporting it, and they'll probably come back and be like, Greg Hughes told me so.
But mine was have the sleuths out there seeing if this is real. So she probably thought, that's possible. Sometimes when something is, quote, possible, it doesn't mean it happened. Okay, because it's like for example, you could say that Brian Laundrie was abducted by aliens and then put back in the reserve at a later date, and he'd been on another planet decomposing for years, with the time travel and everything.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And then they put him down there, right? Now and then you could say, "Wow, come on! Well, you know what? Listen, if you believe that there's life on other planets,
and
then we have to realize that maybe their technology is a lot better, and therefore they may have came here at some point. So can we really rule that out?"
Oh God,
That's how people think.
I know, and I know that this person is kidding, but because I know who she is. But she says, The homeless man was Brian's identical twin brother, Avi.
Oh
Like,
wow! So he was like they were at birth. One was adopted, but they
yes.
found him again.
Or he had like the secret twin living in the bunker all these years as a Brian backup. He was like Brian
No,
2.0.
wow,
That
that's
was the
amazing.
hand you saw coming out of the dirt, Gray. Come on now.
Yeah, they basically had him zero sensory, like he was literally in a box for
Yeah.
20 something years, just fed food, but he looked kind of like him. And then later on, they just thought, well, God, if one of our kids turns out, if Brian turns out to be psycho, at least we'll be able to replace him with this dummy.
I got a spare. And
Yeah.
he's a pale pansy too. So yay. Like
Oh God. Yeah. Wow.
somebody's asking if either one of us are going to cover the Alec Baldwin situation. I'm not.
No, I have.
I will just tell you, I don't like the coverage that's out there anyway. I went to the grocery store today and like all those magazines at the checkout, they all have Brian. They all have Alec's picture really big and like this tiny little postage stamp of the victims, and it's disgusting, and it's just to sell things, and I really don't want any part of it.
I've covered him, since the beginning. I just was like, I probably 2 or 3 times read some of the updates,
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just, I don't think, I hate Alec Baldwin as a person, but
I do too. That's part of the problem.
yeah, but I think that, at the time of the shooting, actors aren't responsible. So you always get these people that are gun owners. Oh, you're always responsible. No, it's not.
Right.
In the movie industry, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
You have the experts. The actors are there to act, just like a surgeon. If a surgeon is handed faulty equipment, he wasn't responsible for checking the equipment and digging into it before the surgery. He's there to do the surgery. The actors are there to act. They're handed a gun. They say it's a cold gun. You're gonna use it, and you're gonna use it however you want to use it because it's safe. At that cold gun means there isn't even a blank or a bullet in it.
Right.
So when Alec Baldwin got it, that's what he was told, and then all of a sudden there's actually a live round. Now, in the future, the actors should be given some training, and they are the last, check. Because here's the thing: I don't even know if you could. Wouldn't it be scary to be an actor at this point in a scene with a gun?
Yeah.
You almost would want to look at it now. Like you'd kind of be like, show me how to look at this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So,
I put a link up on the screen just in case anybody's interested. I did look up, some of the stuff on Alec Baldwin, and I was helping do some prep work. But there is a site called Safety for Sarah, and it's in, I guess, like a foundation for Sarah Elizabeth Jones, who was killed on a movie set back in 2014. And her father is a huge advocate for set safety and will bring in consultants and goes into film schools and things like that and helps teach, college students learning all this stuff, like the different things they need to check off and whatever. And I guess if I were covering the case, I would cover like that side of it. Like, how can we improve that? But you're right. If I walked into a movie set, somebody was holding a gun and be like, no, thanks.
Yeah, especially as an actor, because now you'd be kind of paranoid.
Yeah.
There's been a few other, like Brandon Lee, and then a guy named John Eric. There's a guy named John Eric Hexman. His is the weirdest one because he just had blanks in there, and he put it over here. He was goofing around with boom, but there's enough power.
Yeah.
Blank, and it went into his head. Lee, in his case, they shot real bullets and then put blanks in there, but a real bullet had been stuck in the barrel, and then when he fired the blank, it forced out the original lead, and then it hit him killed him. And then this one is totally different because it's an actual live round. Because it sounds like somebody was practicing during lunch, target practicing with one of the quote, prop guns, which are actually real guns. They're real guns, so they're not prop. Pretty weird.
It's pretty sad, and it's I don't know.
No, it sucks. Yeah.
If you have, so I have guns in my home. I'm not Annie Oakley. I am, No,
Hey, what do you mean you're not? I bet you are. I bet you're like,
I'm not.
yeah, come on.
I'm not. My husband has taken me out. We have like a berm where we can shoot, and we've gone to the range too to teach me how to use like the basic one that we use for self-defense or whatever. I have a reaction that a lot of people have. I shoot it and it scares the F out of me. And I have a very patient person that teaches me, and he's like, okay, put it down on the ground, step away from it, step back. It discharges everything. I will tell you, I can load it real quick. That I'm really good at, and I can hit a target, but I'm not sure. I'm a good shot too, but it scares the hell out of me, and I don't like it. And but whatever. But anyway, all that being said, the first time I was ever exposed to guns or shooting them, it was like, this is how you hold it. You never like talk with it, like pointing your hands. You know how many bullets you have in there. All that stuff, and it's kind of I guess it's not hard for me to believe, but it's shocking and sad that on a film set that there's a possibility that somebody was like, oh, I ate my ham sandwich in 5 minutes. I got 25 left. I think I'll go hit some, beer cans out by the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Not smart.
No. Have you followed the Cleo Smith case out of Australia?
Well, I have with Tricia on Websleuths, and then Ping the router, our moderator here, he lives out there, and he's been kind of updating us on like what the thing is locally. What is your opinion on that?
I think she was absolutely abducted. You got everybody that they're back to the. I think I did see you guys on there. You guys are really look at the guy, look at the dad. The thing is that's the same thing that happened to Shane in the Broussard case. He looked kind of dodgy, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah." But they're all saying that they believe that she was abducted. Even all the experts are. So why not go with what they say? And actually, the behavior panel just went over those interviews, and they all said that they're innocent. They didn't have anything to do with it.
Right. I honestly didn't have a problem with the boyfriend. My first reaction was the mom.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But
something about she didn't say, what was it that she didn't
they
say?
said, it was something like, what would you say to the person that has your child? She didn't she's like, I don't know what I would say, but I haven't been in real deep. And that one, that was my initial reaction, is that she rubbed me the wrong way. And it was because he was trying to answer for her very meekly, and she was just kind of sitting there. But
it seemed like she did answer that. I mean, I went back and listened to it because I hadn't listened to the whole thing based on what I wanted to hear what you were saying. But it sounded like earlier they said, well, what do you want to say to him? And she said, to bring her home. And then later, when asked again, she said, I don't know, that part. So she did at one point actually answer that question.
Right.
But, I mean, I see what you guys are all seeing. I've just learned that, man, forget it. I'm not even going to try to pretend to be a sleuth of somebody being interviewed. They're almost never right.
So in the Cleo case, totally upfront, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't follow it like some people do, or I haven't followed it like some people do. So that was, upon watching that interview, which was my first thing, and having like a little bit of backstory, like, my initial reaction was like, well, I don't like the mom, but I don't like what's going on here. And so I'm kind of behind in that or whatever, but that was my reaction. It's not speculation. Like if I react to something that way, it's not like speculating. Like, I think she did it in the study with, Colonel Mustard's knife or whatever the hell the clue game stuff is. It's not like that. It's just like, oh, okay, that's a little weird to me. But I always have to remind myself this too, is that it's hard, especially when you look at Shane Carey, and you go back to that case with Heidi Broussard. When we see these people on TV, unless they have heavy social media like Shanann Watts and Chris Watts and things like that,
they're going to be nervous.
Yeah, you don't know how they are before they're sitting in front of a TV camera with their kid missing, So
Yeah.
you have to have like that control, and you have to have a lot of video clips as a control, not just one or two. Like because you can't say, oh, well, they're acting squirrely. And I do it all the time. I sit there, I look at it, and I'm like, she's acting squirrely. And then I'm like, Amy, you don't know her. You don't,
Yeah.
like she could be like an anxious person all the time, or she could be a woman of few words, or very stoic. I mean, maybe this is just completely normal for her. This is her baseline,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys, I actually, I'm taking into account what was going on too. All the various, the location and the different things that are being reported. They actually, I don't know if you want to, I can switch over to the other screen because I can actually show you something that, a lot of people like, on Tricia's show, she doesn't do the maps that much. But if you want to see this location, see it's right here in this little, it's right in this little campsite right here.
right?
And it was actually right where the pin is where they were. And, so it was like, what was it? She went to bed at 8 in the morning, 8 at night. She went to the tent to go to sleep. And then 1:30 in the morning, woke up to get some water. I was wondering if that's when she was originally woken up, but didn't know why she woke up by an intruder. But she got a drink of water at 1:30 by the mom. And then when the mom got up at 6 in the morning, the tent has a divider in the middle.
Right.
You can walk to the other side. And when she went through to the other side, she saw that the zipper was open higher than the kid, that Cleo could reach. And the sleeping bag was missing. So she was removed from the tent, completely in the sleeping bag and everything. So she's completely gone. And then they have at 3 in the morning, they have a vehicle apparently heading this way, right here, taking a right at 3 in the morning. And then they have another apparently down in this direction when that road runs into highway. It's not called Highway 1. They have a different name here, but there it was. It was Northwest Coastal Highway. There's another camera seeing a similar car because that's the only way to go. I mean, this is Blowholes Road right here, and that's it. There isn't another road, and it was pretty smart because from that campground, the only way to get out of there is to be at this intersection.
Right.
And so they think maybe they went down south. The parents have allowed them to check every single thing without any arguing at all. They, like they let them search the home, the tents, the cars, everything. So to me, I'm actually leaning like 90% that she was abducted.
Right. So yeah, no, and I get it. I need to catch up because the first time I heard about it, we didn't have information on meaning like the people that were talking. We didn't have information specifically on the tent. So it was like, are they in this like little 4-person tent? And now we know it's like a bigger one with a divider with the adults on one side and the children on the other. The sleeping bag missing. At first, for me, one of the things with that was like, okay, well, a sleeping bag could be used as a method of disposal too, but it's true. Like if you wanted to pull somebody out of the tent gently and they kind of like have that, some of them have that silkiness and you just pull them out and walk away.
Right. You're just lifting. Yeah. Cause let's say you tried to take her out of the sleeping bag. She probably would have been like, hey, what's going on? But instead it's just sort of lift up the sleeping bag. You could even cover her face or whatever and just boom, you're out of there.
Right. So that kind of makes sense. And then I heard a lot of people say too, like, oh, sleeping kids wake up. Kids are all different because my 11-year-old, when I could still carry him, when he was like, 4, 5, 6, he was a dead sleeper. I mean, I'm telling you, I could put him in the car in a car seat. I could go all kinds of places in and out. That kid would not wake up for anything, for nothing. Play the radio in the car. I could come home. I could leave him on the couch, while we were watching a movie. There were times he'd fall asleep on the couch and we would move him over so somebody could sit next to him.
Sounds like a miracle baby.
Yeah, well, not a baby, but he's a
child.
bad sleeper. I mean, and well, actually, Isabella is too. Once
Yeah.
she's asleep, there's nothing that wakes that kid up. So,
So how is your foray into your own channel doing?
well, if I could get one thing to go smoothly, it would be okay. But I'm just taking it one step at a time. I'm struggling a little with the technology. Not that StreamYard's like terribly difficult to use, but um, for the longest time, I thought like I don't have my camera on right now because I used to do this with another person, and my ADD is so bad that like looking at the camera and then looking at another screen and looking here and looking there, I really just need to work that out. And I think I need to just
Well, you know what you need is you should try to learn how to use OBS Studio.
So
it's
how
really
is that
simple.
Is it? Because
Yeah.
my friend that works for Sony told me that, and I don't know why I chose StreamYard. I don't know, but
Well, StreamYards is really good for like you got guests on, and then you can just share
Right.
screens, and it has that little pop-up comment feature that OBS
Right.
Studio didn't used to have. But then
Right.
this guy created this cool Chrome plugin. Once you pop out the chat, and then you put the URL that provided into OBS, and you can now click on comments, and they show up on the screen just like StreamYards. But it does so many other things, transitions. How many monitors do you have?
I have 3, but I tell you right now, I'm literally only using one because every time I come up here, I'm like, oh, I don't want to set it up. And my husband's like, it takes 2 seconds. And
Well, you got to get all 3. It's so
Yeah.
because all you do is like on your left monitor is OBS Studio, and you just you have all your scenes and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And then the middle one might be where you're going to be presenting stuff, and then the one on the right might be some place where you can look up something or whatever. But the one in the middle is where you can actually. So in OBS Studio, you can actually make one of your sources like the middle monitor, and then you put it on your screen. You can make it tiny. You can make it however you want. You can actually make it tiny and then have wording above it. And it's just a smaller version of your middle monitor, but you can put other stuff on the screen and build transitions and everything. But I just think there's videos on YouTube that you can just watch and learn how to do it all.
I was gonna say I need to look at that because I will say this: I'm a total geek and I watch all the StreamYard things that they do when they're trying to teach you how to do things. And I know that there's 2 that are like on my backup list right now. I haven't gotten to, and they're how to use OBS with StreamYard. So I was kind of interested in that. That was one thing.
Yeah, you can do it because you can actually in OBS Studio they have a virtual camera. That's what you're watching right now, and that's why I was able to. I can switch it to any screen. Like I can go to like this one. See how that looks. That's my main screen. Then I can go to this one. See, you're seeing it because I'm using my virtual camera.
Gotcha.
Which really is the camera for the scene that I'm presenting, and then it's used in StreamYards too. So you could actually, so you could have StreamYards, your camera in StreamYards could be from OBS, not the camera. Like it's still the camera above you, but it also has your whole scene and everything that you've built. Like I'm showing you on the screen. Like if I put this in there, can you see all that stuff that I've got on the screen with me?
Yes.
Yeah. So all that stuff that I have on the screen with me is part of the virtual camera. So that means whatever you're doing in OBS will show up on yours. So if you want to start presenting the middle monitor again and all that stuff, you would just switch scenes and have your, like on StreamYards, you would make yours big, whatever you call it. Yeah. So that's all you do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the other thing that's interesting, because I was weighing the pros and cons. It was just that I was more familiar with StreamYard, and I like, let me just put it like this. Like, I don't want to say I got thrown into it, but I kind of like, all of a sudden it's like, if you're going to do it, you just got to jump in the deep end and figure it out later. Like I'll refine my breaststroke, but right now I'm doggy paddling type of thing.
Yeah.
But when I was talking to my friend Jason about this, he was like, he likes OBS because of now it's escaping my mind what the exact brand of it is, but it's like a a separate item and you have like hotkeys. So like once you do your program, you can just sit here and hit a key. What are you, Stream Pad or
Stream Deck? I have that.
Stream Deck. Yeah. He's like, because he does all his Sony presentations that way, and he's like, I love Stream Deck. He's
Yeah,
like,
I use Stream Deck. I use it too. Like I mean, right now I'm pressing a button. Watch. Boom. I just press the button.
The thing to me, I think that's one of the cons with StreamYard is because the sharing your screen thing is not as fluid as I want it to be.
See, and then you see that transition right there. So that's the other one that I just showed you is a different one, but that one's kind of cool because you just build it like I think it's called WM. I can't remember actually. That's a transition in the video itself, and then you make it a transition. But it's so easy just to use because all you have to do is get the stream key from YouTube when you set up a show, you get the stream key, you put it into OBS, and then you hit start streaming, and it'll either immediately start streaming depending on how you have YouTube set up, or it's waiting for you to then hit again YouTube. That's what I always do because I hate when you hit stream. Oh my God, you're already going. And
right.
I've actually streamed, and I didn't even know it for hours. Like it was just. Like I just was so lucky that the mic was turned off and everything. I don't know what I was doing. It was weird.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I definitely have to look at it. I'm glad you brought it up because it was one of those things when I was going back and forth, I was talking to him a lot about different things. And he really, really, really kept saying like OBS is the way to go. You won't be disappointed. And I think the deciding factor for me was one, like I had a comfort level on StreamYard to a certain extent. And then it was the availability of having guests on the screen and not because in OBS, if I'm correct, you can't have guests, right? You have to do call-ins. Is that correct?
Yeah, well you can use like Zoom, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not a fan of Zoom. But
you could do Zoom. Yeah, I mean that's one of the things too, how easy it is for people just to click and they're on the screen just like I just did a minute ago.
Right. Yeah.
How's my audio, by the way? Because
it's really good.
Okay, because one time I was on Tricia's show and I clicked on something and it was using my camera mic up here and it was so horrible.
Yeah, I remember that night.
I didn't even know it, man. I was kind of embarrassed when I went and listened to it. I sounded like I was like 7,000 feet under the ocean inside of like a deep sea diving.
Reporting for the Titanic wreck.
It's like, that's exactly what it sounded like.
The Charlie Brown characters.
The cool thing about OBS though is they have like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plugins that other people make that you can use and do all these crazy little things. Like it's just unbelievable. That's what I like about it.
I'm definitely gonna look at that. Definitely. Well, listen, it is like
sorry.
20. No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I'm so like. So I was just about to say I gotta wrap it up because it's like 2:20 in the morning where I am, and it's.
Well, thanks for having me on. It was fun.
Oh my gosh, thanks for coming on. And you think it's going to be 5 or 6 tomorrow Pacific time that you do this show?
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. Can't wait. I mean, she told me on the phone, like Misty was like, "Oh, I bet," but she talks like an auctioneer. She was so excited about it. It was just like, it's really quick. I got part of it, but it was unbelievable. Like some of the stuff that they were doing. I remember that part, just how crazy it was. And they got stuck for a while, then they just talked through it, and then boom, made the breakthrough. So anyways, it was,
that
should be interesting.
No, it's going to be damn interesting, and you should be very proud because you made it happen, and that is freaking awesome. I think that's the dream. If you're in true crime on YouTube for the right, for the same reasons I am anyway, I think that is like the pinnacle right there. Like, oh my gosh, I actually made a difference.
I know that's what I always tell people, because even we donated $5,000 to RAIN this year so far, $5,000 to Texas EquuSearch, 5,000 to NCMEC. And
Mhm.
so no matter what, we're making a difference, right? Like,
Right.
but this is like, boom. I mean, this one is
Right.
weird, tangible things. Like when you send money to NCMEC, you know it's going to great causes, right? But
Sure.
this is one where you actually see it, right?
Yes.
You get the answer. Like, whoa, look at this. You made it.
Oh, it's tangible. It's specific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So,
I mean,
anyways, yeah.
very cool. Well, thank
Thanks
you.
for having me on. I hope you guys come check it out. Should be kind of interesting. So,
I'm there. Everybody else should be there too. I'll drop
right.
the link in the chat. I'll do it right now.
All
Yay.
right. Well, have
All
a good
right.
one.
Thanks, Gray. You too.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Let me drop. Not that anybody needs Gray Hughes' link because we all know who he is, but I'm gonna put it there anyway because I don't want to miss it. That is super, super cool. And pretty much on that note, I'm gonna take a look at the chat and then I'm gonna call it a night. It's 2:20 where I am. It's my fault. I started late. But that was fun. It was super fun. Thanks, Gray, again for dropping in. I really do enjoy talking to you. And Ping, I do want to talk about the Chloe case. So if you're available, I'll email you Friday or Saturday. Let me get caught up on that so I can, talk about it with you instead of just asking you to talk at me, which would be good. I don't like feeling like that when I'm unprepared. So there's that link. Don't miss that. It's going to be 5 or 6 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow or today, which is Saturday. For me, it's not going to be Saturday officially until I sleep and wake up because that's how it works. I have my own rules, my own circadian rhythm. So good night. All right. Thank you all so much. And I will talk to you soon. Also tomorrow at 10:15 p.m. I hope I'm right on that. Tricia Griffith on Websleuths YouTube Live. I'll put it in the description. She's going to do her special Halloween edition. It's going to be super fun. She has a lot of fun things planned. So don't miss that. I won't be doing anything tomorrow night. I will be enjoying myself watching all the people I enjoy watching, like Tricia and Gray and some of my other favorite creators. And I'll be doing the trick-or-treating thing. And so I will be back on Sunday. And my Sunday spot is going to be 10 p.m. So 10 p.m. Sunday, I'll have something fun planned for you. Didn't finish the rest of this, but that's okay. We can put it in a vault and pull it out at any time. So thank you all for joining me tonight. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you, Ping. And as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the flip side. Good night, everybody.